Alright, today I'm going to show you a little video on your beginning Java program. Now, what we went over in class, we didn't get to go over the full length of the compiler, but I'm going to go ahead and show you to review it so you can do your first assignment. Alright, first of all, you're going to double click on Eclipse, and once you get running, you'll have an area like this. And to start your first Java program, you go to File, New, Java Project, typed in your project name. I named mine Chapter 2, but for 2A, I already have another Chapter 2 created for you for this class, so I'm just going to write Chapter 2A, hit Finish, and you notice that there's a folder in your workspace that says Chapter 2A. When you right click on it, bring up New, I think Class, this would be the name of your program. You can just say first program. It has to be capital letter for the first letter. And I click to make a main for me automatically, which is something you would have to normally do yourself in C. Click Finish, and you notice that they made a program for you. That's great. Well, for this class, I actually already did the Chapter 2, so I'm going to go to that folder. So I'm going to X out of there. Delete this, actually. And I'm going to go to this Chapter 2. In this Chapter 2, I named it First Java Program. And in the main, you'll notice that I created 4 integers. I named them first, second, my num, and my input. Now, this is how you declare an integer, which is with an int and then a variable name. And the help seems to be getting in the way with my teaching here. And I created a double called my double, and a float called my float. Then I also created a string, 2 strings. One I initialized to Yogi Bear, and one to input. So let's go ahead and show you what I did with the integers. I'm going to do a sum of 2 integers, and the first one I declared to 10, the second one I declared to 17, and here you go, the sum of 2. Sum gets first plus second. Well, that's great. So you had the int sum, first and second, and I added them together, which should give me 27. So we're going to see that by using print statements to the console. The system.out.println prints strings and uses the plus symbol to concat the strings. Now, let's take a look at that. I'll make this a little bigger. Or not. Something went wrong here. Oh, let me hit this side. Oh, there we go. So, I use the system.out.println to do print statements, and I enter a little statement called the first integer is, and I put the first in there and the second. And I notice I use plus to concat the strings together, and I put quotes for stuff that I'm actually typing into the user. And these are variable names that I'm adding. And this is the structure you always want to follow for when you're doing a print statement. So it's going to print the first and the second integer, and it's going to give you the sum, which we already calculated up here. Then I did another one to print the name Yogi Berra. I just did that first so you can see how to print a string as well. So we're going to go ahead and, well, I'm not going to run it yet. I'm going to show you how to get input from the user. Now, the input from the user, we have to use a scanner class, which retains input from the user. And the way we do that is I first make a print statement saying please enter a string from the user. And the way the format you have to use is this scanner variable name, which I name keyboard, gets new scanner system.in, and this will read anything in from the user. Anything, it converts it to a string. Even if you hit digits, it converts it to a string. So once that's accomplished, you'll notice that this string, the second string that I made, string input, I went ahead and said input gets keyboard.next, and what this means is it gets the values of the next string inputted. So if I typed in Yogi Bear has a great day, this input will contain Yogi Bear had a great day by using the keyboard.next function method, actually, right here. So, and then you print the string that was entered, and this is what you use. Now let's say I wanted the user to input an int. So I asked the user to enter an integer. Please enter an int. Maybe this actually should say integer. That's fine. And instead of saying .next, let's go through this right here. I said .next, and you notice that there's a lot of next. Next byte, next int, next short, next string, buffer, big, whatever. So I'm going to use next int to get the next integer. Now you could go .next double or next float and so on. If you use the little help that I did by hitting the dot off the keyboard, you can see that there's a bunch of them down there. So my input is actually an integer, which is right here, my input, and that gets the integer, and I went ahead and I printed it out right here from the user. So while we're doing this, let's go ahead and make this, let's run it to see if it works. So go ahead to the run symbol here, hit it, that's what we want to run, and here we go. The first integer is 10 and the second is 17, which we did that. The sum of the two are 27. The string that we printed out was Yogi Bear. And please enter a string from the user. Well, let's enter a string from the user. Let's go. Yogi had a great day. Oh, it blew up on me. Now, as you can see, it blew up on me. And you notice that right here it says the string entered was Yogi, and then it had all kinds of exceptions blew up on me. Now, this was done on purpose to show you that Yogi, that up here, if you try to normally make a string up here, Yogi Bear, that's fine. But down here in the scanner, it only takes the next thing that you inputted. So if it uses the space as a delimiter. So if you typed in Yogi Bear, space bear, it would blow up. But it would get, if you just typed in Yogi, it will collect it. So actually, let's run this again. I'll make it blow up this time. Let's try, just type in hi, or hi, and boom, the string entered was hi. Let's enter an integer, 87, the int was 87. So, we could do this multiple times. Now I'm going to change my code up a little bit here. Enter string from the user and followed by an int. So I'm going to just comment that out there, comment that out. Statement, let's go with what I named that was input and my input. I just won't put a space. Let's go ahead and put a space in between. There we go. And I'm going to run it this time. Yeah. Enter a string from the user followed by the int. So this time I'm going to type in Yogi space 5. And the statement was Yogi 5. And the reason I did that was the input got .next, which was the next string available. And then on the same line, the .next int, I should have read it in int, got into my input. And there it is. Now that does not necessarily need to be done this way, because I could have read it in as a string. Just say .next again here. But if I wanted to do some manipulation with that integer for other integer and I wanted to add it to something or add it to the sum, then therefore I had to read it in as an int or convert it later, which probably would have been a little bit harder. So I went ahead and did it this way. You could play around with that in any way you want. But for right now, this should help you with your first assignment and to begin your first Java program. Well, I hope this helps, and I actually will post this code on for your class so you can take a look at it. Alright, well, thank you.